Well, good morning, everybody. Let's wrap up this operating session. So we just dropped off the full coal hoppers. So now we're going to pull forward and back down onto the train or the cars that we need to take to switch out Truitt lumber and Bartram pulpwood. Sitting outside on Sunday morning, narrating this. Cool and rainy. Only about 50 degrees. I was going to include a picture of the actual locomotive that inspired me to paint the GP9 like this, but it's copyrighted, so I didn't think I should do it. It's actually an SD9 that somebody took that's originally dark blue and had weathered so much over the years. It's a lot grimier than my locomotive is. We really need to get rid of that CSX wood chip car. It's too modern for my layout. Need to find another C&O one and change the number or something. Then I can repaint this into an NW coal hopper maybe. So I'm coming across the trestle. I sort of like it when the plants brush up against the cars, but some plants get very woody stems. I've actually had them rip off the front railings on the GP9 as it goes by, so you have to be careful. So just as before, we dropped off the caboose down next to the pond. Now we're going to pull forward on the passing siding. The little white building in the background used to be the Truitt depot. I know you can't tell it. You can probably see the old abandoned buried siding I have in the gravel. But where those rails are, that's actually the foundation for the Truitt depot. The lumber company bought it and moved it over there to use as their office. At least that's my story. I'm in the process of replacing my wood loads. Some of you guys that are actual railroaders may recognize what those are. Those are like plugs. When they have to pull a spike out and redrive it, they'll put that plug down in the hole so the spike will be tight. I found about a half a bucket that had been crushed, sort of abandoned, so I picked it up, and that's what I use for my wood loads. I'll drop the cars here, and we will pull forward and push the empties in. This is sort of the wood chip loading tube or something I concocted. I did have a prototype picture which is sort of similar to that. The switching is done at the lumber company, so we're going to pull forward and we'll run around the train on the main line, go get the caboose. I don't know if you can hear the rain in the background. It's very gentle rain. The wind chimes are not taped up, but they're absolutely still. Plenty of birds on the bird feeder. We get these grackles and starlings. I put the suet cake out and it just disappears in a couple hours. Had to build a little fence around the garden railroad you see there in the back because we would look out the living room window and see Jazzy up in the garden railroad walking around. She would jump up in there. So I had to keep her out of it. Can't keep the cats out though. And that's the mine up above the locomotive. That's where they dump into the narrow gauge mine cars and they haul it around to the tipple. A couple blue jays on the feeder this morning as well. It's always good to see them. I appreciate the comments about my knee. Still waiting to hear if I can get approved for the injections. But the pain medicine is keeping it in check most of the time. I'm still walking the dogs. Don't take them on real long walks. All right, so we're pulling out of Truitt. So now we're going to switch Bartram Pulpwood, which is almost obscured by those violets. And my pulpwood pile is getting smaller and smaller as it decays and the birds steal it for bird nests. I need to cut a couple hundred more sticks. Used to be pretty good size. This is a difficult area to switch. It's a real S-curve coming out of the tunnel. Sometimes I'll get derailments here trying to switch this spur. I didn't this time, but sometimes I will. Those are all hand-cut twigs in that gondola. There is a piece of foam at the bottom, so it's not all the way full of wood like that, but it's still a pretty heavy car. At the end of this, I'll sort of show you how where I stored the cars, now I put them away. It's really not that big a deal, but when I used to have to hand carry cars out and put them on the layout, one or two at a time, I didn't run the train very much. It was just such a pain. If I did run it, I'd just get out minimum number of cars. So this way is much, much easier, and it makes it, I can set up the whole railroad to run in just, less than 15 minutes with basically everything I need. I highly recommend, if you build a garden railroad, to have some method of storing cars where you don't have to handle them all the time. Now the locomotives come inside. They're kept in the garage, locked up. And when I have to charge them, I'll charge them in the garage, carry them out. So I've got the camera on top of the tunnel now, a little tripod. So we're pulling into the yard. So I didn't film running around the locomotive again this time, so, or at the train again. I just left it off here, so. Putting everything away. Put all the cars I got out, coupled together. And I've got my removable bridge in place. So now all I have to do is roll the cars forward. Now I'll go inside the shed and just pull the whole string forward and put them on the shelves where they belong. So it's not the most elegant system, but it works for my small railroad. Bye. Stay safe.